The new BILT card has finally arrived, and with it we've got some good news and bad news. Now the good news is you can still use the new BILT card to earn points on your rent, but the bad news is it's not as easy as it used to be. Now there are 3 new cards that just launched from BILT, the first being the blue card, the second being the obsidian, and the third being the palladium card. Now the obsidian and the palladium are going to be slightly more premium cards as both of them do carry annual fees, but in this video we're just going to be focusing on the BILT blue card, which has a $0 annual fee. And I think the blue card is going to be one of the most common options for existing BILT users just because the original BILT card also didn't have an annual fee. So we're going to be talking about how you actually earn rewards with the BILT blue card, and we'll also use everyday spending scenarios to compare it to other cards you may already have. And if you do enjoy the video or find anything useful, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. So first things first, as a refresher, let's recap what BILT 1.0 used to be. BILT 1.0 gave you automatic points on rent payments 1-to-1 just for using the card. All you needed to do was make 5 transactions throughout the month, including your rent payment, and you'd be eligible to get all of those rewards. So in my case, that was paying rent and then using the vending machine 4 times, and I was good to go. And there was a 100,000 point annual cap on rent earnings with the original card as well. And the reason why everybody loved BILT was because it gave people a way to finally earn rewards on their biggest monthly expenditure, which was rent. But there are major changes with the new BILT card, and these are the key things you need to know. First up, you can now use your BILT card for both rent payments and mortgages, so if you are a homeowner, this can now finally be a useful card. But second, and this is the part where most people get upset, you are no longer earning points on your rent at a flat rate. In other words, the amount of points you get from your rent is going to be proportional to your monthly spend on other items. Now the CEO of BILT actually rolled out 2 different options that you can earn points with the new BILT cards. The first was an interesting mix of actual BILT points and a new currency called BILT Cash. And after the backlash regarding the complexity of this new BILT Cash reward system, the CEO came out with a much more simpler version that you could select instead. And that simpler version can be shown on screen right here. So essentially this example is going to be using a $2,000 monthly housing payment, whether that be rent or mortgage. So if you spend 25% of your monthly rent, which in this case is $500 on other items, so this could be groceries, dining, gas, what have you, you are going to earn 0.5 points from your rent. And keep in mind, this is going to be additional to the 1 point you earn on all of those other purchases, as the BILT blue card is going to be a flat 1% rewards card on everyday purchases. Now, if you spend at least 50% of your rent, which in this case is $1,000 on everyday expenses, then you're going to get 0.75% rewards from your rent points. And then finally, if you spend 75% of your monthly rent on other expenditures, then you're going to get the full 1% rewards on your rent. So basically, in order to get the same benefits you were getting from the original BILT card, you are going to need to spend 75% of your money on other purchases outside of rent with the BILT card. Now, this is understandably frustrating for a lot of people because if you have a high rent or mortgage payment, which many of us do, it's just going to be really difficult and just not financially viable to hit 75% of that every single month. However, for bigger spenders, you do get some added opportunities with this card because if you spend the same or more of your monthly rent, then you get access to 1.25% on your rent points. Now, some of you may be wondering, what if you just get the BILT blue card and use it the exact same way you were using your BILT card previously? Say you just put your rent on the card and then, I don't know, get 4 bananas or something like that, go to the bodega. In that case, you are going to get just 250 points per month. So you're not really going to get any points from your rent itself if you don't put any noticeable spend on the card. And those 250 points, I mean, dollar for dollar, that's worth about $2.50 per month. So it's not nothing. I guess over time they could build up, but it's almost negligible. I think BILT figured that they had to give some sort of reward to those who spent less than 25% on their rent with the card, and this was their way of doing it. So what's really clear with this reward structure is that what BILT is trying to do is get you to use their card and only their card. Now, unlike the original BILT card, which could fit seamlessly into a rotation of other rewards cards, this new BILT card isn't really like that. It really benefits from being one of the only cards you use. And that's because the more spend you put on this, your rewards are going to multiply pretty dramatically. So let's quickly go through an example. So here we're going to go through an ideal monthly utilization of the BILT blue card and then compare it to some other potential options. So in this scenario I've broken out, you're going to be spending $2,000 on your monthly housing payment, whether that be rent or mortgage. Then you're going to be spending $1,500, so exactly 75% of your rent, on other expenses throughout the month. And I've broken them down into other potential rewards categories like dining, groceries, gas, and then other miscellaneous expenses. So with this card, you already know that you're getting a flat rewards rate on everyday spending of just 1%, but because you're spending $1,500, which unlocks that 75% threshold on your rent, then you're going to unlock 1% rewards on that $2,000, which gives you 2,000 points. That brings your total point total for the month to 3,500. So now let's look at a second scenario where you're just using a 3% category rewards card, and this could be one card or a combination of cards like the Amex Blue Cash Everyday, the Capital One Saver, the Bank of America Cash Rewards, and many others. Now in this example, you're still going to be spending the same amount of money every month. You got $2,000 on your rent and then $1,500 on other purchases. Now in this scenario, obviously you're not going to be getting any rewards on your rent because you're not using the BILT card. However, for dining, groceries, and gas, I have applied that 3% multiplier because these are really common categories where you can get 3% either with one card or a combination of two cards. And for miscellaneous spending, I left that $300 category at just 1%. Now I like this example because when you use 3% cards on these higher spending categories like dining and groceries, it does actually make a dramatic improvement in your rewards even though you don't get points from rent. So with the 3% cards, you're actually going to get 3,900 points. And keep in mind, there are cards out there with no annual fee where you can even get up to a 5% rewards rate, just like the Citi Custom Cash. And there's also a plethora of 2% flat rate cards that you could apply that miscellaneous spend and up that from 1% to 2%. And on that note, let's look at our final scenario, which is our 2% flat rate rewards card. And I think this is one of the most interesting ones to compare with BILT. Now, taking a look at this 2% card, of which there are many options you can get on the market, this would be pretty much considered a catch-all card that you could use for all purchases. Now, obviously, rent is not going to get you any rewards since you're not using BILT. However, across dining, groceries, gas, and all other purchases, you can earn 3,000 points. Now, when you look at this 2% flat rate card and compare it with our BILT example, you're actually going to be getting more monthly rewards using the BILT Blue card. And I think what this comparison shows is exactly what BILT is trying to show with their marketing, and that's that the new BILT card can be a pretty decent catch-all option. And in this example we looked at here, when comparing the BILT Blue card with the 2% card, you're actually going to be getting closer to 2.3% with the BILT card when you actually look at total rewards. But don't forget that the new BILT Blue card still underperforms when you compare it to a strategic use of 3% cards. So what is the bottom line here when it comes to the new BILT Blue card? Well, as I already mentioned, BILT is trying to incentivize higher spend on this card, and they want to make the Blue card a one-size-fits-all approach to your spending. However, for those of you who already have no annual fee cards that get you anywhere from 3 to 5% on your highest spending categories, then going to a catch-all BILT Blue card may not be a great option. However, there are some potential use cases here that are worth noting. Now, the first and I think best use case for this card is going to be using it in place of a 2% catch-all card that you may have been using before. Because if you're putting all of your monthly spend on this card in addition to your rent payment, you are going to see higher than 2% rewards with this card. However, there is an important catch here, and that's to remember that BILT at the end of the day is a points-based system, so it's going to be best for redeeming for travel or transferring those points out to one of BILT's many travel partners. And after all, BILT does have a great travel portal that I've used in the past. They have a huge selection of both domestic and international airlines and a ton of hotels to choose from. So if you like to travel and take advantage of those points, then BILT is going to be a great catch-all option. But if you prefer to get cash back, you still may be better off going with a 2% card like the Wells Fargo Active Cash or the Citi Double Cash. Now, the second potential use case is one that I see a lot of people just falling into, and that's just to keep the Blue card because it has no annual fee and use it for miscellaneous purchases. After all, it doesn't cost anything to have the BILT Blue card, even if you're not going to be getting the same rewards that you were previously getting. And even if you put less than 25% of your rent spend on the card, you're still going to earn those 250 BILT points monthly, which is more than nothing. But if you have purchases that don't really fit in common rewards categories, so if they're outside of dining, gas, restaurants, and anything like that, then putting them on the BILT card could be a great way to just easily hit that 25% threshold. And then once you get there, you're going to get 0.5 points back on your rent. And I think it's pretty common that at least once a month, we run into some sort of situation where we have to spend money on something that doesn't really fit in any common credit card rewards category. And that's when something like the BILT card could come in handy. And guys, that is going to just about do it for this video. Obviously, it's a shame that we don't still have the rewards from the original BILT card, but it's clear that that business model was just no longer sustainable for the company. I think the rollout was really messy with the new card. I'm glad they finally have started to clear things up, but I'm really interested to know what you guys think of this card. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.